the extended Cusack family, and Pat's friends, I would like to share with you some thoughts and memories of my brother Pat. Pat would have been 86 next Friday. He was baptized in his church in November 1930. Like all of us, he made his first confession, first communion, and his confirmation in his church. It is fitting that all of us have come back to this site for the celebration of his life. Pat was the oldest of 11 children. My mother and father were blessed with. He was a great sibling. And it seems that almost every year he got an expanded opportunity to become an even greater sibling because the siblings kept coming. By the time Dan was born, Pat was closer in age to his mother than he was to his youngest brother. Pat was close to mother in many ways. I learned about 10 years ago that every Monday morning he would call mother to check in with her and talk to her. This is just one example of his habit of setting high standards that his younger siblings struggled to follow. Pat had many talents, but most people think that his most developed talent was his ability to tell stories. He was an absolute master at telling stories. Whether it was at close family gatherings or in groups composed of people he hardly knew, he could hold the audience in rapt attention for hours. He didn't really tell a story, he relived the story with gestures, facial expressions, and sighs, anything else he could throw in. He could make you feel like you were actually there. In many, if not most of his stories, the person that he was reliving had some sort of accent or unique way of speaking. And Pat faithfully reproduced this time after time over years, never mixing up the funny way of talking with the story. He kept it all exactly straight. As the story progressed, Pat would get his shoulders into the gestures, and then draw on his repertoire of facial expressions, like apprehension, and fear, and incredulousness. And in the grand finale, he would even throw in eyebrow movements. And did he have eyebrows? Brother Pat had a great sense of humor. One of his comments, which is particularly relevant to the service today, regarded his death and funeral services. Pat announced while at dinner one night, on a cruise with several brothers to Alaska, that he decided he would be cremated when he died. You see, Pat was a person of substance. A lot of substance. The reason why he chose to be cremated was, quote, partly because I'm worried about you guys dropping the casket. In his junior high and high school years, he was recognized as an unusually talented singer. He entered the competition in the Morris E. Sachs Amateur Talent Contest, which was a nationally broadcast radio show centered in Chicago. He won first place. The song he sang was That Wonderful Mother of Mine. He was a tall, strong, and competitive athlete. He played football, basketball, and baseball in high school, and he played basketball at Marquette. Many of us were so young, we have difficulty remembering his high that he broke his right tibia and fibula in a football game at Quincy in 1947. He was put in a long leg cast. The only way he could get around was to use crutches and swing his immobilized right leg. I distinctly remember all of his newest siblings following him around the house and swinging our right leg just as though we had a cast on our leg. Pat became interested in thoroughbred horse racing when he was in high school and college. He avidly studied the Blood Horse magazine. When he was older, he actually owned a thoroughbred for a while. He once described to me the thrill of going down to the winner's circle when his horse won a race. He described the race as follows. Once the starting gate opened, all the other jockeys saw for the whole race was my horse's rear end. Pat was a very generous man. He helped countless people with gifts and with his time. Everyone tends to call their brothers and sisters to share their joys, and also to call them when a problem in life becomes too much to keep to yourself. Pat was a brother who always had time to focus on others. His logical thought process and sense of fairness was both helpful and comforting. We will miss his counsel. He was a devoted husband who dearly loved his wife, Joan. Joan died in April of this year, just 6 weeks before Pat. They met here in Peoria and were married in 1957. Joan was a unique and very talented woman who was committed to nature and the outdoors. They had a small cabin high in the mountains in northern Arizona where they would go on weekends. Sometimes Joan would stay there alone during the week, enjoying the solitude and communicating with nature. She wrote down her thoughts and published them in a small booklet called Distilling the Moment. Pat and Joan were well known and well liked by the staff of many restaurants in Phoenix. When Joan became less able to get around, I would accompany him to restaurants on occasion, and all of the waitresses would come up and inquire about Joan. In the last 3 years, Joan had a debilitating condition, and Pat, without complaining, displayed unconditional love and unwavering patience with Joan to the end. He was a great father to Luke and Jesse, and he loved them dearly. He was very supportive of their needs and was very involved in their lives. He would talk to them daily, up to and including the day that he died, offering them his input about life and problem solving. Our hearts go out to Luke and Jesse, who have had to bear the loss of both of these incredible parents in such a short time. Joan's death in April was a tremendous but not unexpected blow to Pat. Sarah and I spoke to him the night before he died. He was positive and enthusiastic about the future, as he always was. He loved his new big screen television that Luke had given him, and he had decided to go ahead and have his knee replacement surgery on both legs, something which he desperately needed, but had postponed for the past few years because he felt that if he had a complication, he would not be able to take care of Joan at home. He was upbeat and looking forward to the surgery and moving on with his life. He was anticipating increased mobility with his new knees that would enable him to resume traveling which he loved. A few hours later, he was dead. His death was sudden and unanticipated and hit the family very hard, especially Luke and Jesse. He was the first of the siblings to die, and his death was a new and unsettling milestone for us. Pat enjoyed family social gatherings and celebrations. I believe he would think that a gathering of family and friends is a fitting way to recognize his death and celebrate